Once there was a young man who lived in a small village. He was hardworking, honest, and full of dreams. Every morning before sunrise, he would leave his house carrying a heavy bag and walk toward a nearby hill. The villagers often saw him climbing the hill and returning late in the evening. Day after day, month after month, he followed the same routine. People began to laugh at him. One man said, "Why do you waste your time climbing that hill every day?" Another said, "If all that effort had any value, you would already be successful." The young man never argued. He simply smiled and continued his work. Years passed. One day, a wealthy merchant visited the village. As he was passing through, he noticed the young man carrying the heavy bag up the hill. Curious, the merchant asked, "What do you do on that hill every day?" The young man replied, "I carry water." The merchant looked surprised. "Carry water? There is no farm up there. Why would you carry water to the top of a dry hill?" The young man smiled and said, "Come with me tomorrow and I will show you." The next morning, the merchant followed him. After a long climb, they reached the top of the hill. To the merchant's surprise, the hill was covered with hundreds of green trees. Birds were singing. The air was cool and fresh. Small streams of water flowed between the trees. It looked like a paradise. The merchant could not believe his eyes. He asked, "How did this happen?" The young man pointed toward the trees and said, 10 years ago, this hill was completely barren. Not a single tree grew here. One day, I planted a few seeds. Every day, I carried water to help them grow." The merchant looked around and said, "But there are hundreds of trees." The young man nodded. Yes, whenever a tree grew, it dropped new seeds. Those seeds became more trees. Slowly, the entire hill changed. The merchant stood silently. Then he asked, "Why didn't you tell the villagers what you were doing?" The young man smiled. "If I had spent my time explaining my dream to everyone, I would not have had time to build it." The merchant was deeply impressed. A few weeks later, he purchased the land surrounding the hill and built a large eco-tourism center. Visitors came from many places to see the beautiful forest. The young man was hired to manage the entire project. The same villagers who once laughed at him now praised his dedication and vision. One day, a child asked him, "How did you know the trees would grow?" The young man replied, "I didn't know for certain. I simply knew that if I planted nothing, nothing would ever grow." The child thought carefully about those words. The young man continued, "Most people want immediate results. They plant a seed today and expect a forest tomorrow. When they don't see quick success, they quit. But success is often invisible in the beginning. The roots grow long before the tree appears. Friends, many of us give up because we don't see results fast enough. We work hard for a few days, a few weeks, or a few months, and then become discouraged. But remember this, the bamboo tree spends years developing its roots underground before it rises above the soil. Your efforts are never wasted. Every book you read, every skill you learn, every challenge you overcome, and every step you take is preparing you for future success. Others may not understand your journey. They may laugh at your goals. They may call your dreams unrealistic. But never judge your future based on someone else's opinion. Keep planting, keep learning, keep improving, and most importantly, keep moving forward. One day, the results of your patience will speak louder than any explanation ever could. If you enjoyed this story, share it with someone who needs encouragement today. And don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. I'll see you next time with another story. Until then, stay patient, stay grateful, and never stop believing in what you're capable of becoming.